guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. All right, guys, listen, come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. Now, listen up. I know people are impatient. I see people in chat. If you talk crap, I'm just going to time you out. I'm not in the mood this episode, all right? I'm really not. I woke up with sore throat today, but we are working behind the scenes to get an arrest for Jenn Soto. All right. So I'm going to just tell you what we're talking about, and then we're going to get straight into this. I was hoping you guys would have watched yesterday's episode so people wouldn't come in here and say a bunch of nonsense and have to have me time them out. What we're doing today is we're going to read the text messages, exclusive text messages from Stefan Stern that not only implicate Jenn Soto in the unaliving of Madeline Soto, but the CSAM, all of the graping that Stefan did, Jenn knew about, and the taking of Maddie's life she contributed to. All right. So I didn't want to let you guys down by pushing the show out for Monday. So not Deb, I'm sorry. Hey, Deb, you're here. Cynthia's going to help me read. We got about 7 pages of text messages where Stefan not just lightly implicates Jenn. He's ready to talk and fill in the blanks of the taking of Maddie's life with Jenn Soto. Okay, so if you were here yesterday, then you heard me. If you weren't here yesterday and you don't like how long it takes me to get out what I need to get out, bye, Felicia. All right, listen, we're working behind the scenes to hold Jenn Soto accountable. All right, we are talking to the new chief of police in Florida, and that chief of police says that this case needs to get traction, and if that new chief of police was there before, they would have put it to Jenn Soto. However, we're going to give this information right over to the new chief of police, Mark Morris, Major Crime Units, Court TV, West 2, Osceola Gazette. We are putting the spotlight on Jenn Soto for what evidence we have now and the evidence that's going to be produced. All right, so that's it. If you don't, you got to it. I got to it. You're good. Now listen. All right. So we talked about it yesterday. What we talked about, Jennifer Soto would not give depositions in the Stefan Stern trial, but instead lawyered up. Secondly, Jenn Soto used the Electra complex to tease Maddie about the relations with Stefan and encouraged it. Number 2, the COD of strangulation and asphyxiation. I'm going to tell you about it in the words of Stefan Stearns today. Key part of Maddie's death was the vomit on the floor that I showed you yesterday. Number 5, Jenn Soto participated heavily in the grooming of Madeline Soto. Last, Stefan Stearns has realized he should have spoken up when he had the chance, and he realizes Jenn Soto completely has gotten away with it, and everybody wants her to be accountable. So not only are we doing a show to entertain you guys, but we're also working behind the scenes to make sure that Jenn Soto does get arrested, and we're doing that. So when it says talk about Jenn Soto's arrest, that's what we're talking about today, because that is where this is going. All right. So for all of you that want me to spit it out, I spit it out. Bye. You can leave now. All right. But we're going to read lots of text messages, and I'm going to put this up and just talk briefly about the messages that we're doing. So come on in, guys. Hit that like button. I put a goal up today. That would be awesome if we can make that goal today. All right. So hit the like, subscribe, get a membership, gift memberships, super chat, super sticker, all that stuff. All right. And sorry, today I'm not like, yay, it's Friday. I don't feel good. I took Deb's, I took her advice, and I got some honey and some cinnamon and some synth to help me out. So we want justice for Madeline Soto. And what we're talking about today is, hold on, the prison messages reveal shocking truths about Jenn Soto's arrest. All right. That's exactly what we're talking about today. And I'm going to give you all the proof. I'm going to show you the Securus app. Thank you, Alex. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. All right. I'm going to show you all the proof. The proof is in the pudding. We're going to read the messages, and then we're going to head straight to law enforcement with all of the evidence. And we're going to try to get law enforcement to go visit Stefan Stearns and get more information. If that doesn't happen yet, we're going to put the spotlight on Jenn every freaking day until something happens. And I assure you, there will be traction gained in this as more secrets about Jenn are revealed. All right. She has no idea what's coming for her, but now she will. All right. So in my opinion, Jenn Soto arrest is finally coming. Exclusive prison messages from September 1st all the way up until 2 days ago, September 1st to 9/23/2025. These are not old FOIA requests from a year ago that I'm reading you. This is from days ago, some minutes ago. All right. So we're talking to Stefan. I'm going to show you all that under the Mystic Moon. Thank you for helping get to that goal with a $1.99 super sticker and Clover Cross for becoming a member. Now, you guys know this is part of my show to get super chat, super stickers, all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't go live and I would just say, hey, guess what? Jenn's arrested. I'm not going to tell you anything else. Bye. All right. So it's a show. It takes a couple hours for me to get to it. Let's go. All right. Let me give you a quick, just brief. I'm going to show you this, but I'm not going to put it on the screen while we read it, because last time I put it on the screen, people stole it from me, and they did not even have enough courtesy to tag me in the video that they stole from me. They didn't use my name. They took it from someone else's channel and they clipped my messages. So I'm not giving it out this time. I'm only going to show you the first page, and I'm going to show you that I am in fact talking directly to Stefan Stearns in prison right now. All right, Nina Drew, thank you so much for the $1.99 super sticker. Mama Sage, thank you for that. Felipe Rhea, thank you for becoming a new member. And I didn't shout out to Marissa, but thank you, Marissa, Mama Sage, Don, Grandma 3. All you guys, much love. Appreciate you. Waiting for everybody to come in. This is not clickbait, Nanaska, and please don't get yourself timed out. Rewind so you can see exactly what I just said. All right. All right. Yeah, I'm not in the mood for people talking shit today. I'm really not. All right. I have been working hard on this case and hard behind the scenes now, and I'm going to be working hard all behind the scenes as much as I have to make sure the arrest of Jenn Soto is solidified. So if you come at me crazy, bye, Felicia. I'm not in the mood today. All right. Let me just tell you, this is the watermark. We got text messages from Deb and Chris from September 2025, which was 6 days ago. We've got messages from September 11th to guilty of crime, September 16th, September 8th, all the way back, September. I'm going to show you the Securus so you can see I'm talking to him. And then I'm just giving you a breakdown of what this is about today. These whole messages talk about the relationship between Jenn, Stefan, and Maddie, including the allegations of inappropriate behavior between Jenn and Stefan and what her awareness is and was then. All right. Jenn was aware of Maddie's attraction. Not only did she not intervene, she encouraged it. Secondly, Maddie's behavior included inappropriate actions towards Stefan, which Jenn witnessed and encouraged. Secondly, Jenn referred to Maddie's feelings as an electric complex. There's also speculation, and I'm going to tell you about Jenn's involvement in the events leading to Maddie's death. and what Stefan says they are in his own words. You could agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. When law enforcement steps in, grabs the toxicology, and gets the reports, COD, autopsy, they will verify that. We are not the police. We are not law enforcement. We are none of that. We are just finding out what happens as it's told. All right. So circumstances involving or surrounding Maddie's death. Reportedly, she consumed marijuana and possibly Ativan before her death, which caused her, in fact, to throw up all over the place. Her death was ruled as an accident ruled an accident due to asphyxiation from vomiting in her sleep. It actually wasn't ruled that way. They did this wrong. Stefan says it was an accident from asphyxiation, and you'll hear it in his words. Again, we're not the police. You can agree or disagree respectfully. Stefan moved Maddie's body after discovering her, which he later regretted. The autopsy did not find sufficient evidence to support claims of actual premeditation. I don't know where that came from, but it's probably the all the pills and the marijuana that they gave to Maddie on that night. And when I say they, it was Jenn Soto suggesting to get rid of her anxiety by giving her a bunch of weed and double dosing on the pills. Again, toxicology, autopsy, and case files will confirm all of that. We're not the police. All right. I'm just reporting on what I found. All right. So let's keep going. Let me just get through this so we can move forward. All right. Life in the correctional facility. We'll talk about that. Stefan talks about his move and his activities, right? We go back to some of the what he's doing, how he's making out, the new facility, et cetera, et cetera. Personal reflection, Stefan's emotional state, and his desire to reclaim his life and fight for justice, meaning for people to know that Jenn Soto had just as much, if not what he says, more to do with that. Again, I'm going to pull these down because I don't want people clipping any of my stuff and not even giving me any kind of shout outs or tagging my channel, which is very rude, by the way. All right, so take a look here just so you guys know people wanted the proof. Of course, I have the proof. I'd never lie to you guys and try to pass something off. All right, so here we go. Securus. What do you know? Stefan Stearns wrote to J. Scott through the Securus technology. My inbox, my sents, my drafts, my stamps, back and forth. I assure you, I'm talking to Stefan. He's talking to Guilty of Crime, which is part of me, and then Deb and Chris Stearns, which you can see here. All right. I just don't want people saying, oh, I don't know if that's true. Maybe she's making it up. No, I'm not. All right. It's a heavy burden to know this stuff and know what to do with it. All right. So that's that. I showed you Securus. I showed you the messages. There's lots and lots of information there. And then we go here. I don't know what happened to Synth, but between the time she gets here, you guys come on in, hit that like button. Thank you, Angel Blackhand, for becoming a member. Norma, thank you so much for the $9.99 super sticker. Kathy, thanks for us. Keep us updated. All right, so here we are. Did I miss much? You did not, because now we're getting into the actual text messages. Diane, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. Synth, I did not time Synth out, but she's back. All right, let me pull Cynthia up. We are not putting the messages up, Synth. I'm going to read along with you behind the scenes. And we're going to put up Jenn Soto arrested. And we're going to now read the text messages. Only 13 minutes in, we're ready to read the messages. And it's only because I have a sore throat. Otherwise, I'd probably talk some more. All right? And you like it or you get out of here. Thank you more. Love you, Jay, over here in Indiana. Thank you for the $3 super chat. Come on in, chill out, buckle up. We got a lot to go over today. All right. Did you private message me, Synth? All right.
No, I'm cool.
I didn't time you out, goof.
It was earlier, way earlier. It's all right. That was about 10 minutes ago.
Okay, hold on. Can you lower yourself a little bit? I don't know what happened between the time we talked and now, but
now.
No, now you're double. Now you're talking double. You were talking perfect earlier.
All I did was lower the volume.
Okay, you're double now. That's not good. All right, I'm going to mute you for a second. Yeah, I might have to pull you out and bring you in. Yeah, do you have something on your phone in the background? Okay, listen, guys, I can get started without her if we're having trouble. I just don't want to read 7 pages. All right. So if you guys missed it, and yes, Linda, I had the exact same questions. You guys can spin around in chat. Like I said, this information is going straight to Major Crime Unit Mark Morris, new chief of police, and many other people involved in the case. So we're going to hear about that, Linda. I'm glad you're here to hear about it with us. And guess what? I have lots of questions, guys, that I'm actually asking him right now, and I'm waiting on a response. So more information is coming out. Feel free to chat amongst yourself nicely. All right. All right. Go ahead. Maybe your phone or your computer's on. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Nope, it's even worse. You're like double. It's loud
Really?
and yeah, it's pretty bad. Thank you, Desiree. I appreciate that. All right,
Hold on.
yeah, it's pretty bad. I can get started
Now?
reading it. No, it's
Because
bad.
I edited it out complete.
You're loud and you're talking double. I'm not really sure. All right, I hear double. So let me see. Let me do this. Let me pause this. So let me pull this down. All right, let her come back in and then I'll listen again. Thank you, Nina, for being a member for 14 months. All right. I'm gonna wait for her to come back in. I'll go ahead and start reading. If she's not, it was loud. Yeah, it was very loud. Okay. All right. No, I don't know why you're still spinning in chat, Nanaska, and saying that. I just told you that we are working behind the scenes to work on getting Jenn Soto arrested, and this is how. Google doesn't have any information on her being arrested because it hasn't happened yet. I don't know if maybe you started drinking a little bit early today. Maybe that whiskey or whatever got you going back there, but it's not on Google. It's right here on Guilty of Crime. I'm the only one that has those text messages from Stefan Stern, so I don't know what you're talking about. All right, what the fuck is this bitch blocker? Yeah, I can't have this. Like, if you guys are gonna be in chat talking shit about me, you gotta do something else, all right? Because I'm not gonna do this today. All right, yeah, I'm just not in the mood for it. Not in the mood for it. All right, I don't know what happened to Synth. I'm gonna start reading text messages. This is Stefan Stern's text messages to Deb and Chris on September 20th, 2025. We're going to start with those. Yeah, moonshine. I don't know. Whatever y'all are drinking, put that drink down. All right. Put the drink down and pay attention to what I'm saying because it's exclusive content that is only on my channel right now. All right. Leanne, thank you so much for the $1.99. Nina, thank you so much. And I got a shout out to Lynn real quick. I don't know where Synth went, but shout out to Lynn. Much love to her for getting, just much love to her for everything. Much love to her for this beautiful letter, the beautiful gifts, and everything Lynn has done for me and Guilty of Crime. All right, let's get going. I don't know what happened to Synth. I definitely didn't delete her. And I can't stop addressing. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna stop addressing people. It just bothers me when I look up and I'm trying to tell y'all something and you don't understand what I'm saying. Kathleen, thank you so much for becoming a member. Nina, shout out for 14 months, and then I shouted all y'all out. I can't pay attention to chat while I'm reading, so let's go. All right. I'm telling you what is leading up to Jenn Soto's arrest right now, right? Exclusive text messages from Stefan Stearns in prison. I'm going to start reading and I'll just wait a little bit. All right, listen. 6 days ago on September 20th, 2025, Deb and Chris say regarding the relationship, shouldn't Jenn face charges? Was Jenn part of the cover up? Did she help or know about it? Stefan replies back 6 days ago, 12:37 p.m. He said there was no long-term plan. Jenn was aware that Maddie had an attraction, had caught her when she was around 7, 8, a couple of times trying to mess around with me while I was sleeping. She would peek under my towel when I got out of the shower, and Jenn saw her doing that. Amongst other things that should have been alerted to her, Maddie's behavioral issues. Things progressed. I had never intended for any of that to happen. There were never any threats or disclosure when she initiated everything and was escalating the behavior. I accepted the attention and started going with it as well. At one point, she asked if I can be her secret girlfriend. Guys, that's where the Electra complex came from. And if you're already saying that Jenn should be arrested, it's not fake news, Shady Lane. And by the way, shady, that's funny. All right. It doesn't say on it. All right, I'll let you guys worry about that. This person's here like, look, unsubscribe, guilty of crime, Chomo protecting. You guys, please please get rid of these people. There's 1,000 people in chat, and I've got a bunch of people talking crap. Please get rid of them. All right. All right, listen. All right, hold on real quick. I guess we'll do it that way. Let me start the first one. Let me just finish this and then I'll bring you up. All right, listen.
Can you hear me?
Nope, you're way too loud, my friend. It's like you're yelling.
Now.
Nope, it's way too loud. I don't know what happened
Can you hear me
since
now?
the time. Yeah, but it's too loud.
Because I can't hear you at all. Because I lowered it so much.
All right, I'm going to drop you out, okay? I'm just going to have to read myself. It's bad. And I don't want to sit here all day doing this. So let me.
You had to have done something on your end because I didn't do anything different on my end.
Okay.
I don't even have I don't even have the channel playing on another.
All right, okay, listen, Carly, can you tell me? Okay, can you lower it a little bit? Just lower it, and I think that will be okay. It is way too loud. It's way too loud.
Further.
Yeah, I can't control your volume. That's a problem. So I sound low and she sounds loud. All right. Huh. All right. No drinking and chatting. All right. Let's try to match this. Let me finish this and then I'll switch you to the next one. Everyone says you're okay.
Okay. How about now?
You can ask them in chat. They're saying no sound is good.
Can you hear me now?
Everyone says you're good. Let me finish reading it and then I'll bring you. Just stay there, mute yourself, and I'll go. Let me finish reading this. All right. I'll read the victim blaming crap. All right. All right. So listen, my secret girlfriend. I said no to that. Even then, it gave me a panic attack and anxiety. I don't know why I kept going on with it. Her mom, Jenn Soto, and her used to talk about me together and how good I looked. They both used to lay on me and smell my cologne and deodorant, talk about my package. You guys know the package, the what do we call that? The cactus peen, with each other when I was in my underwear. Since Maddie had walked in on me in the bathroom before, they also talked about what I looked like without my underwear. If Jenn was unaware that something was going on, she must have had suspicions, and she certainly egged it on instead of squashing the situation by normalizing Maddie's behavior and encouraging it in some ways. They used to laugh and joke about it with each other. Jenn was fully aware of Maddie's attraction and referred to it as the Electra complex. I don't know what the hell was going on with me other than Satan gaining a foothold in my mind and heart. That's what happens when you stray from your path. I came to realize that during all the time in confinement. I also learned the power of prayer. When I had negative thoughts and feelings, I learned how to banish them with prayer and how to recognize the influences of the enemy and recognizing how to listen for the voice, the spirit. I know I had some demons in me, and I wish I had done something about it much sooner. God has pretty dramatic ways of showing you how wrong you have been and giving you the opportunity to turn from your sins and return to the fold. His ways are often painful and life-altering. As for packing, much of that was just pissing through the last of my savings, using some of what you gave me occasionally, and using some of the free points miles accrued by your credit cards that were still saved to my Amazon, and the packages were not extravagant by any means. Just bags of candy or small painting supplies, 10 here, 15 here. I don't know where you got the impression that they were extravagant. Any big purchases I ever made were made with pay over time, like Klarna or Zip, and usually only with my money unless I asked you for some, make a payment. I know I was going to miss this otherwise. That's it. I hope your answers to this question. All right. Now he writes back again on September 20, 2025. I'm going to let you take that so I can man chat. All right. Now we're not sticking up for Stefan Stearns. We're reading Stefan Stearns' emails from prison 6 days ago. All right. And you guys can respectfully chat about victim blaming or packages or cactus bean. Feel free. All right. And if any other content creator had these text messages, I assure you they'd be reading them too. All right, Synth.
Okay, sorry, I was taking a deep breath. September 20th, 2025, to Stefan Stearns. A couple of follow-up questions to my previous question. This is funny because this is you asking these and I'm reading you. and thank you for answering. A couple more and then I am done asking. Regarding the relationship, was Jenn fully aware to what extent and depth of your involvement in this relationship? The relationship supposedly started in 2019 at the age of 7, right up until her 13th birthday. What was the long-term plan with this relationship, if there was any? Where did you think it was going? And what if it didn't work out? What then? What was to protect you from harm's way and discovery by the authorities? If Maddie later disclosed it in a professional relationship with a doctor or later to the police, I think you mean like what if, right?
Right.
So
And hold on real quick.
Yes,
There's a few of the things, guys. There's a few of things. And here's the beautiful thing about today. Your questions that you're asking in chat are amazing because I'm going to go back with those questions. I'm going to put up a post and I'm going to let you guys ask the questions like I did with Stefan Stearns' parents. So keep those questions, put them in chat all you want. I will take the best questions that I want answered as well and go right back to Stefan and get them answered if possible, which he's been really good about answering the questions, whether you believe him or not, whether I believe him or not. The proof will be in the evidence by law enforcement. All right. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Clark. Let's go.
Lastly, there were a lot of packages arriving at the house, and I know you did not have money to pay for them. Where was the money coming from to pay for all of these extravagant and expensive packages?
All right. Am I reading something?
No, the next says now we're on GOC messages group 1.
So all right, hold on a second. Hold on. Some people are saying that I'm super loud now, and earlier they said they couldn't hear me. So I'm not really sure. Carly, I trust your judgment. Can you tell me if we're matching so I can lower mine and or what? We were fine before. Okay. Tiff says we're both fine. Okay. All right, let's go.
Okay.
All right.
September 11th, 2025, to Stefan Stearns. Hey, Stefan, I just got the message from you through Tiff, and I reached out to your parents who are now signing up to get in touch with you. They're happy to be back in touch and know where you are. They also wanted me to give you all their information so you can call them. Redacted. Since I have you on here, I figured I'd say hello to you as well and find out if you are happy about the move. Many are speculating because it's a newer facility that it's going to be easier with the programs in place. How are you getting along so far? Have you made any friends yet? Or should I say acquaintances? Never get comfortable with any of these people. I don't have to tell you, they'll turn on you in a quick minute. Anyhow, now that I'm in touch with you and I've sent you your parents' info, and you have mine and Tiff's has yours, and you have Hertz.
Wait. Let's not say that name. She probably should have put it out. Just you could just say to just say it GOC. Yeah, no, I thought she took those out.
Okay, don't read names.
Yeah, no names, just GOC.
Okay,
it's fine.
Okay, sorry. Right. Maybe you can keep in touch with us, huh? just wanted to do a quick check-in and make sure I'm all set up on the system to reach out, and hopefully we can continue our discussions from before. Hope to hear from you soon and hear how the move went. What prompted the move? This facility that you're in now is much newer, so hopefully it's not as bad with all the programs in place. Well, you repeat yourself there, didn't you, silly? But I see there's still a whole lot of violence and a lot of people that are supposed to be law enforcement doing shady things. Let me know what you think about that and your observations. Anyhow, hope to hear back from you soon. Keep in touch.
All right, where are we?
Now we're on September 12th from Stefan Stearns. It says hello, which is page 3.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop for a second because people are going crazy in chat. Jenn Soto has not been arrested yet. Stefan Stearns is finally talking. And thirdly, if anybody else had these, if Plunder would have paid $10,000 or Grizzly would have paid $10,000 for these FOIA requests, she would be reading them. I'm not giving Stefan Stearns a platform. I got the messages without having to pay $10,000. So any other content creator would also be reading these messages if they had them. Okay, that's it. We're reading the messages. You guys can decide.
Journalists.
Yeah, you can decide what you want.
Just sources and we just channel it out.
I don't have $10,000 and FOIA requests might not be possible. No, they're not, Nikki. FOIA is absolutely not free. And we contacted the prison and they said, unless you have a, like, what do they call it in there? Not a search warrant. They said
FOIA just means you have access to it. It does not mean that you're going to get it for free. Some things are, some things are not.
Now, listen what they said. They said, we are a state agency and fall under public records, but some items are exempt. Phone calls and emails and messages are handled by private contractors and would require a subpoena from a court of law to obtain their records, as they are not a state agency. Law enforcement agencies can obtain these records without subpoenas. However, as you are placing information on the internet, there is no guarantee any information is 100% safe from being corrupted. All right. So FOIA is not free and they might not even be available there. Let's go.
Okay. Maybe everybody can just hold on to their questions and comments till toward the end, because all will be revealed, as Jay does, closer to 5:45. So just everybody be patient, please. Maybe say positive things or how's the weather or things of this nature. All right.
All right. Say whatever you want. Just don't.
Hello.
I'm talking shit.
First off, thank you sincerely for you and passing along my message to my parents. I am very thankful for that. Please let them know they need to add me on the tablet from their end. I can't add them from my end. They do that through Securus Tech. I believe there is an app for it as well as a website. I can try to call them with a free 5-minute call once I get my phone account set up. In the meantime, could you let them know I need them to please drop more funds into my canteen account? I had to get set up with some essential items, necessary essentials, and my account is very low now. I got cups, utensils, a lock for my locker, cost $10, but I made sure to get that too, but there wasn't much left over for actual food items, and I think after another week or two, they won't be able to send me any more funds until they are approved on my visitation list. So I need enough funds to last until that goes through. Since they asked for my info, you want me to leave that blank and not say that part where he says he's located and his number?
You don't have to put his number. I mean, everyone knows where he's located. He's at Wakala. And
no, it says the number. Are you reading it? It's on the page 3. I don't want, okay, I'm going to skip it.
Yeah, skip it.
Okay, and then the mailing address and all that crap. Okay, now there's a part where all of the words are together because he lost the space button. So give me a second here.
You're all good. All good.
If they want to send any books, just address it to his name, yada, yada. In fact, all of my property was taken and either destroyed right in front of me or thrown away. I have some religious books, but only what was given to me by charitable neighbors while in confinement at CFRC and Appalachie. Sorry, people. There are books available on the tablet, but only things that are free and public domain. So lots of classic literature. I'm currently reading The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. That's a good one for him to read.
I appreciate
Okay, next page. Now I'm on the top of page 4.
All right.
The move was prompted because I had landed at Appalachie, which was basically one of the worst possible camps for me to be at. So I requested protection immediately, and the classification people there reached out to the classification people here, and the staff here made the effort to have me pulled out of Appalachie and brought here to Wakula. Wakula? Sorry. Everyone in my dorm is PM status. What is that?
No, PM is it's damn, he explains it. Just keep going.
Protected? Okay.
Yeah, it's protective. Yeah.
Okay.
He explains it.
Okay, sorry. My asthma was kicking in, so I had to do my inhaler before we started, as well as the 3 other dorms in this section of the facility.
Yes.
And yes, I have made many friendly acquaintances. Friendly acquaintances here already. My first day, I had fellowship and discussed scripture with 3 of my neighbors from the bunks next to mine. And this facility is a night and day difference from where I was before. Much better, and air conditioning finally. Don't get me wrong, stuff still pops off here sometimes, but where I am, it's very rare. The only real problem in my dorm is drugs, but since I don't mess with that, it won't be a problem for me. The vibe in the dorm here is pretty relaxed. Many of the guys have been friendly enough helping me get acclimated, answering my endless questions about how this and that works. And I just got back from the chow hall. I've got a steaming hot cup of coffee, which is much cheaper here. Been chatting with my neighbors and went over a daily devotional with them. It's not so terrible when compared to where I've been. Good. So he's appreciating it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Cat's Meow, by the way. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, there are still some shady things, as you said, but that seems mostly to be if you get on the inmates or officers' bad sides, and they feel the need to send you packing. All in all, the move has been smooth, and as I approach the end of my first week here, I am settling in decently enough. I don't mind staying in touch. I'd be open to that, and I will do my best to answer what questions you might have.
I can take over for a minute if you need me to.
No, let me finish this
section.
All
right, go ahead.
I answered a very big question for last night, and I hope it sheds some insight on what really happened. I think staying quiet was not such a good thing. It only allowed the state to control the narrative, and they didn't care if they had the facts straight so long as they could get a conviction and a gold star sticker on their records. Yeah. Please pass my message on to my parents if you'd be so kind, and tell them I love them very much and miss talking to them. So add me on the tablet ASAP. There's so much to catch them up on. I would greatly appreciate it. And let me know if you have any questions. As I said, I will endeavor to be as open as comfortably or prudently possible. If I missed answering anything else you had wanted to know, don't hesitate to let me know. Take care, and thanks again.
All right, I'll take over for a bit. Take care of yourself. All right, listen, guys, listen. That was Stefan Stearns talking to me right now, and he has 21 life sentences. It doesn't matter what you guys believe or don't want to believe. The whole thing is me getting answers, going to Florida, to the law enforcement, to crimes unit, to the new district attorney or the new chief of police, and getting the information over to them so they can get the toxicology, the autopsy, and the case files and match those up with anyone else. Also, he's willing to answer any questions, whether they are sugared with powdered sugar and sprinkles, and he wants to make himself look better. We know much different. So it doesn't matter, right? Same thing, different. It's just like you watching Wade Wilson crap from years ago over and over. You're listening to people read the messages about him wanting to screw some chick over and over and over. We're just reading the messages from this month, and he implicates Jenn, and he wants to keep on implicating Jenn to law enforcement, which he's not going to gain a thing. He's got 21 life sentences. He's not getting out of this, guys, but it is telling you why he pled no contest, because he doesn't want to take full responsibility. Jenn Soto was the one that gave Maddie multiple hits of weed, Ativan, and extra pills that night, which in turn made her throw up all over and be asphyxiated. Again, a toxicology and an autopsy will verify that. All right. All right. I'm going to keep reading. All right. So where are we? September 16th to Stefan Stearns. Thanks for sharing your information and responding. I immediately reached out to your parents and let them know that they need to add you and get set up for the app, any visits for the future, as well as funding Commissary. I get why they moved, or I get why they moved you, and you did luck out because the previous prison was the oldest and grossest one, although I imagine all prisons have problems, especially D-rugs coming through, unnamed sources. Don't say too much. I don't want to say too much about that, but I absolutely believe the narrative of Maddie's story was taken by your silence, which leaves a lot to be desired for people to want to attack. Jenn Soto, even though she may have, and this is me asking, may have not been involved in what happened to Maddie, ? Can I ask you to stand by that and her not being involved that night or in the morning? Was she involved? At this point, she will probably never get charged with anything unless we can know about it. I know we discussed the relationship to Maddie as you being her favorite person and her yours. Did Jenn despise that you and maybe her, or maybe have an inclination of what was happening and turn a blind eye? You stated that you didn't start it. What does that mean? Big question for you is what happened to you that Saturday night before you returned to Maddie's house after the birthday party? Your parents said you asked them for anxiety meds and were stressed out of your mind. Question of the year is what happened? Did Maddie tell you that she was going to move with Tyler, or something that hurt your feelings and prompted you to feel anxious and out of sorts? Even your parents want to know. Also, I believe it was an accident and you wouldn't want that to happen to Maddie, and that's why she's not here. What happened then? I'd like to hear it from you, and then ask if you would like me to share it so people know and don't think that you're the complete monster all by yourself. I'm pretty blunt and open and don't want to offend you, but I'm going to be straightforward. I know your parents have the same questions as I do, and it tears them up a bit not knowing the truth. If you want to share some of this, I don't know why this is all put together, but maybe we can move it forward and stop rehashing the same ideas again and again and then blaming your parents. This is the biggest motivation that we need to change so we can get Jenn Soto arrested. All right, whatever. Take care of yourself. Then the next thing that was on there was what I read you. This guy from the prison, Gary Hewitt, answered us, and he said that this agency falls under public records. Some items are exempt, phone calls, etc. You'd have to get a subpoena, but he's not sure, right? And the reason we're asking this is because we want to know if the FOIA requests are going to be able to, if this is going to come out in a year from now, and what information we want to put out there. If it's public, is it going to get redacted? We don't want to dox people. Okay, they said they can't guarantee it, but unless there's a subpoena or law enforcement asks, then they won't share it, but they can't guarantee. Nat, thank you so much for the 5 Guilty of Crime membership. Stefan is talking to me, and I'm talking back to him right now. First was Deb and Chris, second's me, and then it's Stefan and me again, or Guilty of Crime. We have a Guilty of Crime email in the system, which I showed you earlier. All right, let me
read the next part.
Yeah, hold on.
Top of page 6, group 2.
Okay, from Stefan Stearns. Yes, from Stefan Stearns.
I am Stefan. I'm SS anyway because I'm since Cerber, so I'm still SS either way. It's all good for me. Sassy and classy. All right. Hey, I'm sorry I haven't replied in forever. I haven't had access to a tablet since I got moved. I went to CFRC, and that was rough. Then they moved me up to Appalachia in the Panhandle, and I didn't have a tablet there either. I was in confinement in both places and just got moved again today to a PM camp. I don't remember the name, but I got lucky that the tablet person was in the intake property area while I was there, and I now have my own tablet finally. Could you clarify those questions you had for me? And could I ask you for a favor? This tablet system is different, and my family has to send a connection from their end. I can't send a request from my end. Could either you or Jay please let them know to download the Securus Tech app or visit the website and add me? Also, I want to let them know that they need to apply from their end to be on my visitation list, ? Only people on the approved visitation list may put funds in my account. Anyone can send funds in the first 60 days. So I've received what they sent so far, but those 60 days will be up later this month, and they will need to be on the list. So even if they don't go to visit him, they still need to be on that list so he can get procurement, is what he's saying.
Right.
Okay.
And he's working that out with them. Yeah, he's working that out with them. We're just going back and forth, having open conversations. And while he's answering questions, I'm going to ask them. All right. All right. Let's go.
Okay.
Thank you, Sergio. I appreciate that. Sergio says black people. All right. Go ahead.
The officers at CFRC took everything from me, all my books, my hygiene. They smashed my radio. They tormented me every chance they had. So far, the officers at Appalachia were more professional, and this new place seems even better. I'm finally out of confinement here in an open bay dorm, just a large room with all the bunks in it, like an army barracks. Okay. With a single man bunk. It seems pretty okay in here. It's a PM dorm, so everyone here is checked in, quote unquote. I think I could be all right here for now. The staff have been quite cordial, obviously, so long as you don't piss them off, LOL. But I'm okay for now. Like I said, I lost all my books and everything, but even at CFRC, I had a neighbor in another cell who was kind enough to pass me some books through the orderlies. And then at Appalachia, my neighbor in the cell next to mine gave me a bunch of books to read. I was so grateful. I only wished I had anything at all to give him in return. I was blessed to have such kind and generous neighbors in both those places.
He has no idea, though, Cindy. He has no idea what these people will turn around and do to you after they take your stuff, which is the funny part. He doesn't listen either. When his mom tells him that, he thinks he knows. So he's going to end up in a predicament, I'll tell you. And we want answers before that happens. All right, let's go.
Yeah. So please, please, please let my parents know to add me on the tablet from their end and to make sure they apply for the visitation. He got moved. They never had time to follow up, yada, yada. So I have no way to contact them. And I had to list one of my attorneys as my emergency contact. Thank you. Talk to you later. Or talk to you later. Yeah. Okay. So now we're on September 11th. To Stefan Stearns. That's you.
All right, I'll go ahead and read that one. What am I asking? Okay, I figured you were in limbo with your transfers. I did let them know about the information and give it to your mom so they can get in touch. I hope you're able to get in touch with them soon. They're very nice people. How did they end up moving you from Appalachia? You weren't there that long. How was it? I looked it up and it didn't look pleasant. Why was CFRC rough? What was the reception, etc.? Now, let me just explain real quick. What we're doing here is building a rapport and a relationship with Stefan. We ask very direct questions about the night Maddie was gone, about the CSAM, and about hard questions, but we have to build a relationship with him, and he only is willing to say certain things, but it has changed over time. So he says he's not ready to talk about the CSAM on Maddie because he still doesn't even accept it in his own mind. He says he never liked children before. So he's processing all this, and we're hoping to get, even if we get the caramelized sugar on the top answers, they have to match the autopsy, the toxicology, and all the other things. All right. So I know sometimes things aren't explained and you don't like what he's saying, but it's to get it out there so we can get it over to the police department. All right. I'm going to keep going. So we're just asking just stupid questions. Reception, blah blah blah. The questions I wrote, I think, are cryptic so that it didn't get denied. What I was asking is, did Jenn Soto have a hand in the actions that you pled guilty to? Did she have a hand in the actions or that you pled no contest to? I know you stated you didn't start it, so I was curious. I guess what you meant by that? Sorry, now that the case is over, it has my mind curious. What does PM mean? Like a mental health prison? How has it been? That is good. You have good neighbors. It's probably not easy to come by. Usually it's known that the neighbors are mean and rough because they feel they have nothing to lose. Gotta run. Hope your parents get in touch. September 11th, Stefan
That's
Stearns.
me now. That's
right.
me. Okay. Hey, so I was at Appalachia for maybe about 3 weeks or so. And yes, it is one of a handful of the very worst places in the state, probably the worst place I could have been sent, which was likely intentional on the part of CFRC. The people at Appalachia kind of gave the classification people here at Wakulla a heads up, and the Wakulla staff basically made the effort to bring me here. PM is protective management. Gotcha. And it wasn't project manager, so I had to ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
protective custody.
And
the nice neighbors.
It could be another not word we don't say on here.
Hey,
so I just wanted to make sure.
Hey, listen, those nice neighbors, when he drops the soap, aren't going to be so nice. All right. When he doesn't when they try to extort him or his parents for money, he just doesn't get it yet. All right. But the guards did. Well, the guards did spit at him and kick him and do shit to him. That's why he wasn't taking showers and stuff. Because
no nasty Nate, no naughty jungle of love. Remember that from that movie, everybody. I'm quoting a movie right now. Okay. So PM is protective management, and this is one other few facilities that has dedicated PM units and dorms. So everyone in this dorm and the 2 dorms next to it is PM status. This is a good place for me to be. CFRC was one long episode of COs harassing and abusing me. They took all of my property, they threw it away. Even the staff I was supposed to be able to keep or stuff smacked me in the face on day 1, threatened violence, attempted to intimidate me constantly, deprived me of food many times, dumped piss jugs in my cell, tampered with my toothbrush by wiping it on the inside of my toilet. Luckily, I'm very observant and noticed my toothbrush looked weird. They never accepted or submitted any requests by me, skipped me for showers. When I first arrived, some sergeant named, I shouldn't say it, made me soak my clothes in a shower and wear them wet, threatening violence if I didn't. He went through all my legal discovery and looked at it, which they are not allowed to do. A lot of things. I just stayed quiet, never talked back or gave them the reaction they wanted. They were trying to get me to act out so that they could have a plausible reason to spray me and beat me and charge me. I just never gave them the justification for it.
Oh, no, they just wanted to do that for fun, Stefan. I wish you knew that. They just don't like you. And yeah, Chomo's, that's what they get. I mean, he doesn't realize that, but he will. All right, keep going.
It kind of goes both ways, you know. It's the same coin, just a different side.
Right.
Okay. About your questions regarding Jenn and the things I pled no contest to. I took that deal because it was obvious that I was in no way going to receive a fair or impartial trial with all the media and public attention at the time. I hate that the only thing Maddie's family knows or believes is what the investigators and state wanted them to believe. I kept my mouth shut on my attorney's advice, and it was terrible advice. It only allowed the state to control and perpetuate their own narrative. Yes, Jenn had a hand in the death. Yeah, but not in the way you might think. I will say it flat out. Maddie was not red rummed. She was not. Her death was an accident resulting from a combination of several factors. As best as I was able to tell, she threw up in her sleep and asphyxiated on her own vomit. I found her asleep on cold and dead, lying on her back face up with her mouth full of vomit and vomit leaking from her nose. I moved her body. That was a mistake resulting from me having a complete breakdown and not being able to think and act rationally. I should have called 911. I did it for reasons that, looking back with a clear head, were batshit crazy. Okay,
Yep.
here's where it's going to get very serious, people. Please be cool in the chat.
Yes, we're
All
gonna
right,
talk about
that's your
You want me to?
warning.
Okay.
Now I'm going to read it, but they need to be chill. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put up the
You
evidence.
keep the eye on the thingy.
Yep.
All right. That night, Maddie had complained about anxiety, which he suffered from generalized anxiety. So Jenn gave her hits of marijuana. I witnessed it with my own eyes. After that, I believe either Jenn gave her Ativan or she helped herself to some because her judgment was impaired. I found my own bottle with the lid sitting loosely on the bottle, not screwed on, which is not how I ever leave my pill bottles. In addition, because she had the munchies and begged me for snacks, I allowed her to overindulge and fill up on junk food right before she went to sleep. The overfull stomach must have sent the food back up, and the combination of substances must have rendered her incapable of waking up and reacting to it, and that's it. Any damage to her throat could only have occurred after death in the course of my moving her. It's so awful that her family and everyone has believed she was red rummed by someone who adored her and who also adored, thinking her last moments were spent in fear or pain. They weren't. She passed in her sleep, and it completely broke me. When the ME made his autopsy, there wasn't enough usable blood for a proper tox screen. So they didn't find evidence of the marijuana or anything else. So, for lack of anything else to go on, they saw what can be described as very minimal damage in her throat and attributed it to strangulation because it was the only thing they had to go on, weak as it was. The ME took hair samples too. I don't know why he didn't test those. Maybe the investigators were just looking for a reason to be able to call it red rum because that's better for their careers to solve one. Now you know as much as I do about her death. That's why I was so shocked when I was charged with red rum, because I was certain the autopsy would reveal what actually happened, but instead they just made up a theory that benefited their desires to take me down as hard as possible based on rather flimsy and circumstantial evidence.
Now listen, we don't give a shit if what he's saying or he's lying and trying to shroud it and take away from him. But what we do care about and what we are going to talk about is the fact that Jenn was the one that gave her the marijuana, the Ativan, and even possibly double doses of that based on the toxicology, as well as the autopsy. We've talked about this behind the scenes, and they had fingerprints. It wasn't a handprint. It's fingerprints, like finger bruises, and kind of a hairline fracture in the hyoid bone. Do I believe what he's saying? And did I roll my eyes out of my head when I read it? Absolutely. But with the police and law enforcement effort to get those documents and charge Jenn Soto, this is not about charging Stefan Stearns. He's got 21 life sentences. Bye, Felicia. All right. So we're talking about Jenn Soto's arrest and how it's going to come. All right. Yeah, believe it or not.
And it makes sense because of the days that passed from when it occurred and when she was found, and it was being hot, and the level of her she was probably dehydrated. So It makes sense that they would not have been able to get a lot of blood out of her. So that's a scientific fact. People can like it or not.
No, and it's true. It's absolutely 110% true. She was already decomposing by then as well.
Correct. Okay. So as to the things I pled guilty to, that is such an extremely complicated situation and a lot to unpack, and I'm not quite ready to discuss that. But the suppression motions were denied based on the judge misconstruing and twisting the facts to make his reasons fit. He clearly caved to public pressure and didn't have the spine to remain impartial. So I took the plea deal, which was a horrible deal, and my PDs basically rolled over, I think, public defenders, and gave up to play nice with the state. Hell, the PDs on the homicide case hadn't even read through much of the discovery. I was pointing out facts from the autopsy report that they were not even aware of or familiar with. The whole thing was an absolute crap show. Does that perhaps clarify some aspects of the case for you? I have remained silent on it for too long, and everyone was only too ready to believe that I would be capable of taking the life of one of my favorite people in the world, the life of a child I helped to raise, whom I was teaching to drive, whom I was so proud of, and so looking forward to seeing her grow up. It's not a thing that I'm capable of. It's not
Yep.
in me to take any human life in cold blood, much less hers. Thanks. I hope my parents contact me soon. I hate to say it, but he sounds sincere. I mean, as crazy in the head, as crazy as it all is in his head, it makes sense.
Well, listen, yes, you're right. In his head, it makes sense. And I don't care about what his head makes sense to him. I care about the facts. And that's what we're going to do
Right.
to get a Jenn Soto arrested with the new chief of police that says they would not have let Jenn off. That she hid behind, didn't take deposition. So that's what we're working on. Stefan's not going anywhere. And
But
the
and
CSAM,
you've always said the whole point of this was you want to get in their minds. Stefan's or anybody's that that's crazy like this. It's why did you act that way? What made you that way? Why are you still, in that headspace and following that narrative? So
and listen,
it's good to see that reveal, like layers of an onion.
Also, why didn't he tell law enforcement when he was at the table? Hey, Jenn gave Maddie, she was smoking weed that night. She gave her Ativan double the dose, probably because the bottle was open. He didn't ever say anything about Jenn Soto. So now listen, if law enforcement comes and they go to open the case on Jenn Soto and nothing Stefan says matches and they can't find evidence, then it's all just a big lie and none of that happened. But I don't think that's the case.
I remember reading about a case the week before or two where somebody had died through asphyxiation from the vomit. So it's not like it was a medical thing for somebody that was older and same kind of thing though. They couldn't get up because they were so fully drugged that it happens for real in medical circumstances. So
yeah, but the bottom line of it is that we heard Jenn Soto just yesterday sticking up for Stefan Stearns. He didn't do it. He didn't, we over and over and over.
She says. I don't believe anything. She says.
Exactly. So why are we sitting here we're talking about arresting Jenn Soto and bringing the evidence forward now that Stefan's talking? He's not getting out. No. All right, let's keep reading so we can get this done.
Now this is you. So you're two Stefan. This is you.
All right, we called Jenn Soto the potato, Danny, because we've been covering this case for a good year and a half. And I had a guest that said she didn't think Jenn Soto was involved, but that she was just a lazy potato. Now, potatoes don't do anything. Potatoes just sit there and let things pass by because they can't. And she's high all the time. So we called her the Jenn Soto, the potato.
Covered in eyes and ears and doesn't use any of them.
Right, exactly. So because according to her narrative, she didn't see anything. She didn't know anything. Stefan wouldn't have done that. Yada, yada. All right, what page are we on? Where am I?
Number 10.
Wait, there's no pages on mine. What date?
Oh, September 16th to Stefan Stearns.
Okay, all right. So September 16th to Stefan. So has this place been better than the others? That is crazy. They're allowed to come at you guys like that. The media kept saying that you are not taking showers by choice. I guess they can do whatever the way they want in a sense, but they do not feel like anything will happen if they do. I do appreciate you answering the questions. I can't believe that Jenn lets you take the fall for everything when Jenn was involved in the pictures too, because when she was shown it in the interviews, she did not look surprised. One choice can change so much. Not calling and taking it all in your hands changed it all for you. I really do think they will go. I really do not think that they will go after Jenn at all. You should have told everything. I know your parents probably want to know the truth. They've been through so much and it's sad. I am slammed at work, blah, blah, blah. So this one's got to be short. All right. Do you want me to say anything to everybody else? September 16th from Stefan Stearns. I'll go ahead and read that one.
Me.
Okay, you want to read it?
Otherwise,
Okay, go
it's
ahead.
confusing to the people in the chat when we're
Hold on,
doing
hold
that.
on. Before we go, let me stop for a second. I'm gonna weigh in on this. And Ericer, I don't know what that says. Listen, several times my teenage son, as a teenager, had lots of different kinds of parties and friends and things. I saw it all. And the kids at 15, 14, 16 had parties where they were dabbing and smoking weed and not drinking, just smoking, dabbing, weed, pills, whatever. And it ended up in a night of vomit, like straight up for hours vomit. I've witnessed that. So the only reason that I can relate to them giving Maddie a bunch of weed, Ativan, anxiety pills, sleeping pills, and her throwing up. That is the only thing, that and the throw up that we saw. I can relate when people say, I've never heard of that. Weed will make you spin. And then you add pills to it at 13 years old. Yeah. So there's a truth in that. As far as strangulation, asphyxiation, and who did it and how much force, well, we got to see the autopsy and the toxicology to find out how many, what the levels are, et cetera, et cetera. All right, that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and if you go back and listen, we
Yep.
just kind of explained all that. So, hey, yes, this place is a night and day difference. The reason the
Agreed.
officers at the other places can come at you like that is those facilities don't have cameras everywhere, not in the cells, and they know how and where to mess with you. They will lie, they will set you up, they will falsify their reports, they will beat you up, and then hit you with additional charges just to screw people over who are about to go home. It's really bad. They do that. That's a true thing. It's not just movies, people. Yes, I should have done things differently. My attorneys told me to keep my mouth shut, and all that did was allow the investigators and state to control the narrative. Okay, I wish you would quit saying that because that sounds very Lori Daybell to me. Okay, Jenn probably followed her own attorney's advice. I know my own team couldn't even get to her for a disposition. Oh, God, I even say that word. I was going to law school. Not that they probably tried very hard. The whole situation was an absolute clown show. And you're right, one dumb decision can change everything. Not that I was even capable of rational thoughts or decisions at that point. I had a complete mental and emotional breakdown. I was in shock for over a week afterwards. It took me several weeks to return to anywhere near normal again. That's why I was on stripping the suicide watch cell for as long as I was.
Words. Hey, you can't say that. Sorry. It's unaliving. You can't say the SUI. Yeah. It's all good.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about that In Excess song. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
you know, the blonde one?
Yeah.
Even when I finally got my clothes and blankets, I was still under constant observation and evaluation by mental health. Tiffany, you need to do a bit of redacting. Okay. My blood pressure was in the stroke range, and my body was numb to the point that I wasn't even registering pain normally for weeks afterwards. The grief and the loss had broken me. I was devastated in a way that I have never experienced before. I would never wish upon anyone. A part of me died that day as I held her cold body in my arms and wept. I told you he loved her.
We are not hold on real quick. We are not raising money here. We make goals. We make goals so that we can gift memberships, Foxy boxes, merchandise, etc. So no, we're not raising money ever unless we say that, and we won't ever. I will never do that again on my platform. I was new at it and it bit me in the ass. So never. All right, go ahead.
Whoever said that, you're very negative. Keep gross. Anyway, Lordy. Okay, here. I suffered a terrible loss that day too, and no one seemed to consider that. Worse, I was the one to find her that way. The image of her pale face and blue lips and vomit leaking from her nose and mouth is burned into my memory. I would have died for her, and if I could have traded places with her, I would have done so with zero hesitation or regrets. Yes, I am giving you, Jay, permission to tell, and my parents, what I've told you here.
Yeah, okay.
Someone ought to hear my side of things, and I know they have wanted some answers. I still want to fight this. To do so, I would have to risk my life because the state has said if I try to come back and fight it, and succeed in withdrawing my plea, they will seek the death penalty again. And I would need better legal representation who are willing to put in more effort and are less concerned with preserving their working relationship with the state attorneys. Okay, I will send this off now. Take care. And thank you again for your help to reconnect me with my family. It really means a lot to me. Now, this is you. Go. September 22nd.
I love all of you guys, but I cannot wait until the spotlight is all over Jenn Soto between now and the next week in law enforcement, and they open the case and you guys see an arrest or an interrogation without a lawyer possibly, or even with one. You guys will absolutely eat your words about what we're talking about tonight. It doesn't have anything to do with what Stefan's saying because we believe him or because we want to coddle him. It's about arresting Jenn Soto and having her be culpable for what she should have been and what he should have said when he had the opportunity to. What he meant by the lawyers telling him to shut up was not to talk to law enforcement about it, not to talk to his parents about it, not to talk to us about it, nothing, not to say anything about Jenn Soto. They told him that they would get depositions from Jenn Soto, and she refused it. She lawyered up. They never got the opportunity, and then he was sentenced. So I don't care about that. We're listening to what he says, so we can hear that night, Jenn Soto probably always gave her weed, Ativan, a bunch of pills, etc. And maybe it was too much that night. It doesn't take away the fact that he essayed her for years. And we asked him about that, and he said, I'm not ready to talk about that yet. And I'm okay with that. That's a big responsibility to have. And no, he is not a victim. Nobody ever said he was a victim. Okay, is it my turn to read?
Yes.
All right, September 22nd to Stefan. I'm just going to read the, what do you do to pass the time? Is the food terrible? Another question. Before you went to Jenn's to be there with Maddie, you got home from her birthday party, you left your parents very anxious. Why were you so anxious leaving your parents? How was it at Disney? All right, now from Stefan. I'll go ahead and read that so I don't read the chat. September 23rd. This was 3 days ago from Stefan Stearns.
It's a really long one in your voice. How's your voice?
I'm okay. It's better than me watching chat.
I don't want to watch chat either. You should let me read.
Okay, go ahead.
Good. Okay. Then I mute myself after I say that because I'm a dork. So
yeah, go ahead.
September 23rd from Stefan. Hey, I did hear from my parents. Thank you so much for your effort to get me back in touch with them. I truly appreciate it. I am fairly settled in here. I moved over to a new dorm from M2 to M1 next door. M1 is the step-up dorm, so it's a little better, consisting of people with better behavior, more community-oriented. We even have weekly bingo nights with prize packages consisting of canteen items that many of us donate. The whole dorm plays. If I continue to do well, I will set up again to L dorm, which step up, which has even more privileges and perks. Okay, because he said there were 3 levels. So that makes sense. He's now from the lowest to the middle, and then there's the one higher. I pass the time here on my tablet out at the rec yard playing cornhole or walking laps around the yard, at my bunk talking to my neighbors, or walking around the dorm talking to friends, reading, playing Sudoku, or in the day room watching TV. On the weekends, we get to watch TV till around 1 a.m. So a few of us will have movie nights and watch whatever is on. And of course, drink lots of coffee. We all live on coffee in here. Thankfully, it's cheaper here than it was in Osceola County. I am making friends, but still need to be careful of who I trust, and have to be careful of how I act and speak to certain people. It's prison, so the wrong words or actions can land you in the hospital or morgue very quickly. And this place isn't even as bad as the regular prison compounds. The place I left, Appalachia, is notoriously bad and bloody. I am learning my way around here, though. The food is actually an improvement over the horrible crap they served us at Osceola. That was a big surprise for me, realizing the food was better. For instance, tomorrow is Tuesday, which is chicken on the bone day. We will get a chicken leg quarter for lunch. We will have sausage patties and biscuits for breakfast. Sometimes we get scrambled eggs and grits for breakfast or biscuits and gravy. It's not terrible. And we can get all sorts of condiments from canteen to improve the food from the chow hop. The canteen window has far more options and items than the commissary menu at county did too. They are not as strict about books and magazines, so I won't have to deal with the ridiculous level of restrictions that the county jail had. I have a call out pass for the library tomorrow, so I will see what they have and check the LRC list to see what I'm allowed to get delivered, what's approved, and what's not. Okay, it's doing that thing where all the letters are crammed together. So I don't recall exactly what I was anxious about before I left for Jenn's. It was not related to anything with her or Maddie. I think I was anxious in general over my job situation and regretting having left Disney. I needed to save up to try to move back to the Orlando area to rejoin Disney. I left on good terms and I was welcome to come back, but I lost all my progress. So I was anxious in general. Over having basically set myself back and wasted a year of hard work and progress with the company and having to start over again. Got it. Working at Disney was the most fun I've ever had at a job. I liked my coworkers. I liked my supervisors and managers. They liked me. I looked forward to going to work, and I worked very hard from the moment I clocked in until the moment I clocked out. I was giving 110%. I was burning on average anywhere from 5 to 7 calories in a shift and getting anywhere from 10 to 20,000 steps depending on the length of shift I was working. I had lost 50 pounds and my health was good.
Hold on, stop. We did not ban anyone for calling a child predator to burn in hell. Let's not spread rumors. They're going to go back to other chats. I didn't even get to comment on that. All right. We have 1,527 people in chat. If Stefan was going to talk and tell you what happened that night, you're not going to say, hey, what happened that night? Can you tell me? Oh, yeah, burn in hell, by the way. Now talk to me. So, no, you guys can say the stuff. Just be chill, be cool, and let's not start stupid rumors. Please. All right, let's go.
Okay.
Man, people are wild.
I had lost 50 pounds and my health was good. I loved getting to be behind the scenes, making the magic, operating the rides, and making the experience better for the guests I interacted with. I genuinely loved what I did there. I immediately regretted leaving that job to go back to my parents to work in real estate again. And the benefits were nice. We had a good union, decent health insurance, good hours, free admission to the parks. That alone, dining and merchandise discounts, the company paid for education as well. I miss it. When I think about my time there now, it feels like a distant dream from another life. I am making the best of things right now, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing this. I don't belong here. I know it. The people around me know it. I need to get back in the fight. My case was handled horribly and I got screwed over very badly. I'm going to send this off. My neighbor is letting me check out this music and game collection on his tablet. Take care and talk to you later. Okay, I'm going to mute right now.
Yes, please. All right. Is it my turn? All right, it's my turn. All right. Yes, we don't like what he's saying, and whatever he's saying, that's on him. Again, when FOIAs come out, if they come out in a year from now, you're going to be on someone else's channel listening to them read this as well. All right. I guarantee that. Grammy T says, I unsubbed from that channel after 18 months of membership and let them know why. Love and respect you always. Thank you, Grammy T. And I did want to say something about that. There's another channel that also reached out to Stefan Stearns and was successful in getting through. But instead of finding out what happened to Maddie that night, was Jenn culpable? Is there any way we can get evidence to arrest Jenn Soto because she was involved? Instead of doing that, they pretended to be a different name and they made sexual advances towards Stefan. They talked about Latina booties and things that would appeal to Stefan as a man, all right, or whatever that he's got going on. So they didn't use their platform. They didn't use getting in touch with Stefan to find anything out except for stupid ass content. All right. So we've got the opportunity. That's what we're going to do. That's not on him. We're not trying to have him get out or anything like that. That's his battle. That is Stefan Stern's trunk. This is the evidence. These are the evidence photos. Okay, go ahead.
Can I just say one thing? Right at the very end, when he says, I don't belong here, I know it, and the people around me know it. That's the only part I got with him. He's got that wrong. Yes, you do, honey.
Oh yeah,
You did think maybe not to that case because they didn't do the separate CSAM one, but you did. You're still guilty of things, and so unfortunately, we're at now.
Right,
and he needs to. I hope in his reflection and his time dwelling,
right,
that he really, 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 really.
And here's the thing: is I know how to,
and then says, you know what?
Yep. But that's what we're waiting for. That's why we keep pushing it to talk to him. But I'm sure as hell, I know how to. I'm 46 years old, and I know how to control myself without getting angry. So you could spit in my face, and I'll say okay and wipe it off. All right. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I've watched Datelines. I've watched many of these crime things, and they have a person that's a detective that builds a rapport with the serial killer, and it can take 20 years to get the person to feel safe enough to say the information Jay has been able to work on. Okay?
There's a reason
there's a
reason I got kicked off Turtle Island because of the Sterns. Oh, Matt, damn it. I thought it was because it was a bunch of nonsense crama that want me kicked off. Shoot, man. Damn
Everybody has a weird ass family, Matt Banks. I'm pretty sure if we held yours to a light, it would be pretty weird because we're humans on the same planet. Let's be serious.
They're obviously from the crama. Yeah, they're from the crama community.
Yeah, we don't. That's why we left Turtle Island. That's why I voted us off because I said sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not in the bayou for a reason. I don't play the banjo for a reason. Okay,
we are not the same. Just like they say.
Now you're September 24th.
Okay, let's look at
that is good. That's you.
All right, I'm coming. I'm just working slow. I'm meandering. All right. Where am I? Okay, September 24th. All right, to Stefan. All right, that's good. You heard from your parents. I know they're waiting when they're able to get in touch with you. So you are constantly on the move to the dorms depending on your behavior. They have bingo. You do more than I do on the outside. I'm not familiar with prison life, which is why there are all the questions and they're coming from. It seems you have to have privileges and perks. These are all stuck together. When I think of life behind bars, I think of sleeping constantly and being bored. I was just going to ask, are the prices of the canteen the same? Where were you in Appalachia? Did you see any crazy things go down? I'm trying to read this, but it's kind of, did the library have books that you wanted? I assume something happened that you were in a rush to get to Jenn's and needed anxiety medication before you left. I really think they need to question her again, meaning Jenn Soto. You should speak up when it comes to her because she's definitely not thinking about you when she's putting it all on you. She is to blame too. I have only been to Disney once. It was cool. Do you think you're going to get back in to fight the case? What do you foresee you doing regarding your case? I did reach out and find about the messaging and the FOIA. I haven't heard back. Now we have. And the FOIAs, we just don't know. All right. September 25th. To Stefan, or wait.
Yeah,
to Stefan. I'll just read it real quick.
Hey, you again.
So this is random, but it popped in my head. That morning, did Jenn help you dress Maddie? If she threw up, she had to get it all over. Plus, you washed the bedding. I was curious. I believe one of the pics shows the throw up from the nightstand.
And that's the end of whatever the PDF is that we got. I have a question. Is he in that new place permanently now? Is that like his permanent home or can he get moved again?
That is absolutely his permanent home.
Okay.
That being said, you guys do me a favor. There's 1,500 people in chat. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. If you don't have a membership, you get one. Share this. We're going to take the documentation that I didn't share with you guys, and we formatted it to reach out again to the new chief of police, law enforcement, detectives from I have it all written down here, but let me see what else. Let me see. So there's a new the process for the info. There's a new chief, and the new chief of police said that if we don't get traction, they're sure the mainstream news will put pressure on Jenn to get investigated and arrested as well. This new chief of police, the new group of law enforcement that doesn't include Marcos Lopez and all the trafficking people, want to see Jenn Soto held accountable, and they feel like she also should have been arrested. All right. Mark Morris, Major Crime Units. We have a Court TV producer, Wesh 2 Channel News, and Osceola Gazette that we are talking to and going to get Jenn in the spotlight and get real evidence so that they can either open the case or continue the case. Okay. That's where we are. Thank you so much, Spirit Seeker. Now, do you want to say anything? And anyone want to kind of try to ask questions that we can answer? Go ahead, Synth.
Yeah. So we're just waiting to hear for the next responses, I guess.
Right. And we have the same, I mean, we all have the same reaction that you do not, Clementine. We absolutely want to know. And when I've asked that, we want to know about the hyoid bone because 60 pounds of pressure. And every time I've asked that, I was told that it was like a hairline fracture that could have been caused from shaking her, which only we would know if we had the autopsy and we were able to talk to the medical examiner. So do I believe that? That was the first question I asked too. No, I don't believe that. If the hyoid bone was actually broken, like hardcore, that wouldn't be possible. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. The only thing I want to say about the whole
good idea.
PI shenanigans and all that is just it's supposed to be about crime, and there was just a lot of vitriol, and it you know, when that game you play when they say something that you do a hit or you punch someone or whatever the heck, every time they were saying GOC, my husband was laughing. He almost had an asthma attack because it was ridiculous. Okay. And you can have your opinions and stuff, but I didn't, at least the first time we were on there, it wasn't like that. We had other stuff going on, and there was some hate because of the, high school stuff, but yeah, I wish it was more. I want them off because they don't check their sources, or they don't cite their sources, or they don't really go into it, or I don't like their voice, or I don't like their material, or I don't like how they present it, or whatever the hell. Because for all of the money that they take in, and the $400 that their people put, where's that $400 going to? Because I'm pretty sure it's not being donated like Jay does to the NCMEC. So that's all I got to say on that one. People, we put our money where the mouth is. Mods do not get paid. Mods do everything they do out of the goodness and graciousness of their spirit and their heart. And it has nothing to do with that we like Stefan, or we're trying to get in his pants, or we are untruthful. You can Google me. You can find out everything you know. You can email me, and I will tell you everything because I have no filter from the TBI that I have.
Right.
And there's no illusion. There's none of that. And if you don't know, then that's your fault because you haven't been paying attention. Go back and replay. We got over 1,000 videos. Goodbye.
And yeah, Alicia. Thank you. And now we're here. We just read almost an hour, a little over an hour of the messages from Stefan. And you could see we gave him, how many questions did we leave for him? Question after question after question after question. So we're waiting for the response. If you don't want to hear the response, don't come back here. All right.
No, now, not the medical examiner didn't lie. A medical examiner did what they could with the state of the body and the decomposition that it was at. You guys got to go back and listen. Okay.
They didn't
think
lie.
Science and think logic, and don't be thinking your emotions, and don't be thinking your heart, and don't be getting emotional because you're not going to be able to help us get Jenn arrested if you all are having hootenanny fits. Okay. You have to be logical. You have to be as to the law and the word of the law as you can be. And that's where you build the case.
Okay,
That's
and
how
they
you
don't.
build the case.
These people are just on YouTube. They're just people that want to watch and sometimes see a train wreck. So I'm not going to address them anymore. Nina
Yeah.
Drew, thank you so much. I know you're a Turtle Island friend in defense. The Turtles. It was another creator having her people call in, via Stearns to kick guilty of crime. Dolly would have liked to talk to Stearns. And Nina Drew, here's another thing as well. The baby that was supposed to be a dead baby on my thumbnail, they arrested her mom, by the way, and they're looking to have her adopted out. So, I mean, we just don't, that's not the community that we have, and it's not the community that we're ever going to join, nor do we want to be in. Please kick us off. Okay, nobody knows what we're talking about. We're done with that topic.
It's good.
We are digging for more information. We are working with the news stations, law enforcement, and all the people I named off in the beginning. We are working to continue to work on the case to get Jenn Soto arrested with the evidence that is provided and the autopsy, the toxicology. No medical examiner lied. However, the medical examiner didn't give a clear indication exactly of what happened ever because she's a minor. They gave a broad theory of strangulation and asphyxiation which can leave a huge gap. So the only way we're going to get that information is if law enforcement orders it for the case to be open against Jenn Soto. All right. Any other questions?
No, but tell Rebecca that, if my brain gets back into gear, I'm supposed to finish my BA so I go to law school next year, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And I don't have any kind of nothing, no law, no nothing too. I just want to see Jenn Soto be arrested for the part
you have
that
the
she
passion, and you're the Kirk. I am Spock. I am the science station, and if I need to go in a pond far every now and then and do some to Puck and whatever, it's how the Vulcans are, and the Vulcan neck pinch and Spaceballs, and that's how it goes. So there you are. And
yes, they did.
Justice will prevail.
Yeah,
the darkness is not in the dark forever.
All right. Mary please send the guilty crime poll to the new sheriff and tell him to get on it. We're not going to share the poll, but we're going to share the information that we have, and we're going to put Jenn Soto back in the spotlight so that they can continue with this case. That the new police chief agrees that she should have been arrested. She's culpable, and they just said, okay, we got the arrest. These people were trafficking. These people, law enforcement, the chief of police, and the people, even his wife was trafficking money. And who knows what else? They weren't paying attention to Jenn Soto at the time, and that's what we want to do. All right. So
you remember when that sheriff got caught, the one that leaked her picture? He got caught in his uniform. He thought he was going to get a damn reward for being no. Yeah. When I saw that, you'll get found out soon enough. Patience is a virtue, people. This stuff can take many years.
Right. So
this is why we got to keep it going and keep it going and watered and.
Hold on. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Sorry about that. Okay, let me pull this down. I'm just going to quickly go over the what we have to bring. What I have to bring to law enforcement and all the people that are behind the scenes that are working on this with me. By the way, I have a whole team, not my mods. I actually have a whole team that's in Florida that is helping me to get in touch with all of these people, which now includes, and thank you, the lady Shannon Butler, WFTV, the one that called in law enforcement originally over Jenn Soto's interview and said she's guilty as hell. So
Lynn, you said shout out to Lynn. I can't.
Yes,
you said to say that too.
Huge shout out to Lynn. All right. So what we're doing is using my platform to put the spotlight on Jenn Soto and get in touch with law enforcement, because Jennifer Soto would not give a deposition but lawyered up. She didn't go to any of the vigils. She didn't go to her birthday party. She didn't go to she went to one of the funerals. I'll give her that, and I stand corrected. She didn't go to court. She didn't give a victim impact statement, and she was all too quick to take a deal. All right. Without even knowing, apparently, She also, if that doesn't give you an indication, the Electra complex and the Woody Allen situation, COD, strangulation, but they also wrote asphyxiation. There is a difference, and we need to know what that is based on what we've heard. Okay, key part, Maddie vomiting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was part of it. And with Jenn Soto participating heavily in the grooming process. There's got to be evidence of that. There's got to be text messages between Stefan and her joking about it, if that's what they did. All right. And yes, he realized he should have freaking spoke up, and he didn't. And now she's gotten away with it. All right. So we're using the platform not to talk crap or raise money or whatever. We're trying to get Jenn Soto arrested. All right. Anybody else? If we follow the push. Okay, Ashton, I'm not sure what you mean by the roommates. What does that mean? The roommates don't have any information. And if they get deposed, I'm assuming that they will talk, but I don't know what the roommates mean. And none of them have any information. They haven't said anything more. All right. And yes, just me, Jenn Soto used the mental hospital initially to stop talking, and then she lawyered up. All right. And are the roommates lying? I don't remember the roommates lying about anything. I mean, we haven't heard. Did you hear anything about the roommates lying?
No, they just really were clueless because they weren't there most of the time.
Thank you, Spirit Seeker.
And they really didn't interact. They kept their heads in their turtle shells in all their little turtle rooms. And when you rent a room out of someone else's house, that's how it goes. I did that for 5 years in Southern California and Chula and Chino Hills. And, you rent a room and you're just there because it's close to the work and you don't have family and you're not there to make friends with those people. So it is what it is,
And the roommates I don't know that they lied. I'm not going to put an accusation out there about the roommates lying. That's what I'm not going to do. I'm going to put an accusation, in my opinion, that Jenn Soto needs to be arrested, which is what I've been saying since day one. But what we saw was that the roommates minded their own business and wanted to stay in the country, and they just and they're friends with the Sotos. So they're friends with the Sotos. They didn't speak up. They probably heard things. They did talk about hearing maybe a power tool or a hammer that night, which was probably Stefan moving Maddie's body and panicking and cleaning up. But that's the extent of it. So I don't want to throw that out there. I don't want to throw out the roommates are lying, but please, roommates, if you're ever watching this, if you're a roommate, please talk to law enforcement about any suspicions that you might have had or evidence that you might not have given. All right. That's what I could say. And Yolanda, I agree. I think Yolanda knows more. I think she was at that court. She told Jenn Soto, take the freaking plea deal. Let's go. Absolutely. All right.
Yeah. I think part of what Fisher Blue wrote might be part of it too.
Yeah, we haven't got that yet. Gally, we're trying. We still got 100 more questions for Stefan, and he's answering them. And then there's ones that he's saying I don't want to answer yet. However, we did ask that, and we're waiting for a response from yesterday. Right?
Yeah. It might take a couple of years for the other information because he has to get to that place within himself that finally connects that was really not kosher. And
so, yeah, Langley says, does he really think that obviously fake story he told is going to make people focus on Jen instead of him? No, I don't think so. And maybe he thinks that, but we don't think that. We have always focused on Jenn Soto, and even the law enforcement that's there in place now says that they think that the people that were previous there messed up and they didn't do what they needed to. So who cares? Focus on him, focus on Jen. Let's get Jenn Soto arrested. I don't care what you guys do. I don't care. Right? I mean, think what you want. Yeah, think whatever you want to think. I don't care. It's your decision.
Well, that's the point of free will. Use your brain, then use science, then use logic, then use the law.
Right. So I think next week what we'll do, guys, this is awesome that Veriscope is continuing to cover this case and just continuing to go over this stuff. And I believe Veriscope heavily believes that Jenn Soto is absolutely guilty. And if I didn't have a sore throat today, I would cover this one with you just so you guys can remember how guilty. that she is. All right. So look at this. Stefan
Yeah.
Stearns. What about what?
Melissa, it timed me out and I'm the mod. It's Facebook.
Yeah.
It has and YouTube. It has nothing to do with us.
So Veriscope, it just did this a day ago and then another one 5 hours ago. And I prefer smaller chats. So when we have a smaller chat going on, we're going to continue to cover the new information about Jenn Soto that puts holes in her story to put the spotlight on her. And behind the scenes, we're going to work with law enforcement and any news station that will help us out. Okay, I don't know what else to say. When we get more answers, I'll be happy to give them to you. I'll put a post up so you guys can ask questions and we'll see if he can answer. No one thinks so. Chris Stearns does. I don't think Chris Stearns. Well, Chris Stearns did give his opinion. Nice shirt. He did give his opinion last time, and he thought that Jenn Soto didn't know about anything. Yes, the mod crew. I wish he were here to answer that question. We don't believe that. We believe Jenn Soto absolutely needs to be charged, and she was culpable in it. I mean, okay, listen. If you guys had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, right? And your boyfriend or girlfriend was doing the nightly thing, and your boyfriend or girlfriend went and gave your kid marijuana, Ativan, sleeping pills, and other things that resulted in them throwing up and possible suffocation, would you think, was that culpability or not? She didn't say any of that. She never said anything to law enforcement that Maddie was smoking weed and taking advantage. She never said that. What is that, Synth? What is that? You can talk now. Petitions your paper. I can't hear you. Hold on. You're muted, silly.
I did a baby guilty came in, but mine's the dog. So I was showing you the cutest coasters that I found. You know, I love music, y'all. These are cute little coasters for your coffee or tea. And this one says, "Tea time, don't spill this."
That's awesome. It is. It's tea time.
He also uses the we pronoun.
I was trying to find some of the video, but he's literally just talking about deception of Jenn Soto. So anyway, Veriscope is covering that. Faith and repentance is a wonder, if not already, adding copies of the petitions and the paperwork for the judges. I don't know the petition. Possibly, we've got some work. We've definitely got some homework to do, guys. All right, we've got homework to do. We see some of the lies that Jenn has said, and if you guys have not been here for the last year and a half, and you're just coming in and you didn't even know that Stefan was sentenced yet, you might want to go back and just rewatch stuff. As far as that goes, Faith, I don't know yet. We have a lot of legwork to do. All right, Beyond the Evidence is great job, Jay, in the case. I'm going to get ready for my live tomorrow. Bye, Marv. Thank you for being here. We're getting ready to wrap this up as well. All right. So people wanted to,
Remember,
I
that's
guess
who we're voting for. When you're going to go vote for this. This is who we're voting for. Focus on the prize, people. Focus on the prize. This one needs bars in front of this picture. Okay?
Yep. And that's what we, and if you've been here,
Sebastian. For all the babies. All the babies.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. That's
all right.
awesome. Foxy Bugs. All right. So Veriscope's fantastic. We're going to keep the spotlight on Jenn Soto, and behind the scenes, we're going to work with anybody that we can to get out the information and have them continue. We've never heard that the case is closed on Jenn Soto, so there's still hope. We wish that Stefan would have I wanted to cuss, that when he was sitting at the table there that day, that he would have freaking said, well, last night she was, her mom gave her marijuana and then pills, and then I gave her extra pills, but he didn't want to be implicated. And he thought if he just shut up that it would go away, and it didn't. All right. Yeah. Sebastian and baby Emmanuel, and the baby that was dumped in the dumpster.
Miracle
That's okay.
Angel.
Yeah. If you guys can do me a favor, we had 1,600 people and 737 likes. You guys want to hit that like button? And who?
All of them. Celeste,
yeah,
poor girl in the front.
All right. Yeah, and yeah, he doesn't. Novelius is unaliving was accidental. What about the essay? Exactly. He doesn't want to talk about that. He doesn't want to. I've asked him. I've tried to reason with him about that, and he's just not ready. So his actions earned him 21 prison life sentences. All right, and we're not taking away from that. Impunity. Angel says, I really got acknowledged. I understand the chat was, there's 1,500 people in here, and that's why. New here, Nikki Goddard, shout out. All right, we've been here for a long time.
When the chat has more than like 300 or 400, it is insane. And usually I'm modding, so I'm not reading, and we can be a little more on top of chatting with everybody. I didn't get to say hello to everybody like I normally do. So come back next week when it's a little slower and we have more time. We appreciate you all coming.
Yep,
we all appreciate you staying tuned. We appreciate Jay for taking all the arrows and slings, and Lord have mercy, but she's small and speedy. So we Speedy Gonzalez little team over here. So we're real good, and we do like the rolling and tucking like in Star Trek. That helps. That works.
And you know what? We've got a lot of ladies behind the scenes that are helping us out with this. So it's not just us. Now I'm not going to give you my information because this is not just.
We don't need to reveal our sources.
Yeah, we're not here just to talk. Yeah, we're actually doing real work behind the scenes, and we're telling you about it. So, that being said, let me see what Ab says. If this show starts a fire under Leo, then law enforcement, then there might be many slow nights for a while.
Right? God, hopefully.
Hey, I'm fine with that. I like slow nights. I want to talk about I want to talk about that baby that got dumped, the mom being arrested. Did you see the Lake and Snelling thing? Lake and freaking Snelling. Maybe we should have a call in. Well, maybe we should have somebody call in and tell us.
No, not now. I got to go to my church thing. Okay. My mother-in-law's waiting for me. Right, I got to go. You crazy. But I'm wearing my Tiffany bracelet that says GOC. See, Tiff makes beautiful merchandise too, people. You people need to buy some things for stockings and Christmas, and
we got the
and donate it. There's so much cool stuff, man, and I give good stuff. Get on the Cynthia snail mail, and if you don't, I can't help you because I do it for free. I have issues. I have to give out my gift of hospitality, right? And look, Jay's getting more cookies. Everybody's getting. Doesn't nobody want no cookies? What's wrong with people?
All right, go to your church thing. I'll say bye to everybody. I appreciate those that are there. The 4 I'm already all over that, Tina, too. The 4 dead babies in the house. There's more information. We're going to continue covering other cases. Well, for a little bit, I need to connect Jenn Soto and show some of the people that didn't follow the case that Jenn Soto, without Stefan Stearns, still needs to go to jail. All right. F what Stefan says, F what he's trying to do. We want Jenn Soto to be arrested. And if he gives them more information, what is GOC? It's guilty of crime.
Guilty of crime. Hello.
All right. She said, your presence is presence. Yeah, that's an awesome shirt that Tiff made. We love you guys. You guys have a good weekend. I'm probably going to be sleeping all weekend, so I don't know if I'll answer anything. Mom, I love you. Arrest Jenn Soto, guilty of crime. I love you, Mom. My mom's the one that did this to me with the true crime, by the way. I always would watch. I watch Dateline with her. We watch Lifetime, all that. So, Mom, I love you.
I love Unsolved Mysteries. Ooh, Robert Stack and William Shatner, Rescue 911.
All right.
What about getting the tongue stuck in the freezer? I'll never forget that one.
Right. Reese did that. Oh, sorry. Baby Guilty did that yesterday. She put some ice in her mouth and it stuck to her lip and she freaking panicked. All right. Hey, if anybody wants to help me with anything, Rosie, feel free to email me about the petition that's signed. I don't know how good the law enforcement's going to take that, but they are going to take it really well when we can connect the dots now. So I don't know. You guys are welcome to help me with that. Send over what you want. We've got a pretty good team assembled to help in the arrest of Jenn Soto. And that's what we're going to do. All right. So I love you guys. I appreciate those, even the ones that doesn't give a shit about who we are. Just want to, did you get arrested? Did you get arrested? Blah, 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 run in your mouth. All right. Since you have a wonderful night, mods, everybody in chat. And I am grateful for next week not having this many people in chat.
Yeah.
Remind me when we have slow shows how great it is when there's only 200 people in chat. Please.
Everybody be good and do better.
Yes, we love you guys. And if you want to help in the arrest of Jenn Soto and you know something, feel free to email me guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to have less people here next week. Love you guys. And thank you for supporting the channel. Peace. Thanks, Synth. Love you. Love you all. Bye. Bye.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?